Street talk time. What happened in Coronation Street this week? There was a wedding and everything. Well, almost a wedding. I've got a feeling that there might be another little mini wedding coming up soon for Emma and Curtis. But we'll see. Maybe we'll do a bit of Christmas predictions later on. But yeah, we saw a wedding. Gemma, you said you wanted to know what Emma and Curtis's outfits were going to be like for the wedding. What did you think?
Ooh, fashion.
It was nice and pink, wasn't it? It was very Emma, I have to say.
I thought the set designers did a fantastic job of making that look really beautiful. I loved all the floral arrangements. I thought the little thrones were so cute. I loved her dress. I mean, none of it was to my taste, just to say. But
just in case there's any listeners out there that are thinking of stealing Gemma away from me and
or
taking
like
her up
sending
the island
me
themselves.
a pink gown or something. I loved everything about it. I thought it was very, very Emma. It was kind of funny in a way. I mean, I know they did it because it was visually quite hilarious, but it's kind of weird that Curtis is so insistent on stuff and didn't want to get married, but he just let her go, yeah, everything's pink, and he didn't seem to have any input in it. He did look a bit like a ventriloquist's dummy.
With his velour pink suit as well, didn't he have on? And it was odd. It felt to me a little bit like it was designed by a Coronation Street set designer than Emma or the person that would have been designing it.
It
for
was
her.
definitely much more polished than I think that they could have achieved.
It was a done for it was a done
with
for
the
TV set. Also,
they probably would have.
I'll tell you what, they could have saved some money by not having quite so many chairs there, because there were 30, 40 chairs there, and how many guests turned up? 5, 6? I thought that was very odd. I enjoyed the spectacle of it, but it was a real kind of we're in COVID kind of wedding, wasn't it? Everyone was very distant from each other and there was hardly anybody there.
Can you imagine if you could only invite like 5 people to your wedding and one of them was Audrey?
Lots of people were wondering why Audrey was even there. We saw a few comments online, didn't we?
Emma used to work for her.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah. Although it was understandable that she was there, I thought. But no Morgan. And I think it was Bronte pointed that out on our Facebook group as well. Emma's brother, who is living around the area, isn't he? Because he was about for a couple of episodes a couple of years ago. Nowhere to be seen.
Maybe he hates pink.
Maybe. No Fiona, of course, but she is over in Australia at the moment.
We scoped in.
It felt very strangely empty to me.
Zoomed.
And there was all that spectacle for hardly anybody. A little bit odd, but oh well.
Maybe more people will come to the real one.
We will talk about that Case of the Munchies story first, and then we'll talk about everything that was to do with kind of Kelly and Nina and Asher and all that. I've not even tried with the storyline titles this week. That's still the trouble-free one in my notes here. And then we have got the endeavours of Sarah Louise and Adam to try and bring the Barlow and Platt clan together at Christmas, have some kind of Christmas truce. So I call this story Trucy Barlow.
Like that.
Yeah, like that one. I thought that was a bit rubbish, but I'll take your compliments there. Gemma,
has there been a greater reunification of two warring sides since the football match during World War One?
That was another Christmas truce, wasn't it?
It was.
Well, I mean, are the Platts and the Barlows, have they really? They've not fallen out before. If it was the Baldwins and the Barlows, that's another matter.
It's more like a rivalry, like a meta rivalry of like who's the best.
Who's the main family of the street? Yeah, that's true actually, because it was always like, are the Platts the main family, are the Barlows the main family? Or it's come into the show and she's made the Barlows the main family, but now it's the Platts again.
Yes,
and now they're all joined together. In perfect harmony.
It is kind of quite funny that you could probably do this with almost every family on the street now, the way they've been shagging around all over the place.
I know.
But I never really thought about it, but it is quite funny that, Sarah and Adam are uniting these two big name families. I don't know. I really don't know how often that really happens.
No, I wonder. I want to know what Imran and Toy would have thought about them uniting on their special shagging desk this evening.
Well, I don't know that it's reserved.
Do you think there's I don't know, are they supposed to have a little sign on it?
Yeah, like in a restaurant.
Is it always got like a rota next to it when who's using it at
when you come in, there's supposed to be a lady that sits at the desk who everyone thinks is the receptionist, but is actually just checking you in, going, have you got
It's
a
actually
reservation?
the madam of the brothel.
Yeah, if you haven't got your name down on the schedule, I'm afraid you can't. I guess you can go in the kitchen.
Oh, if you go into that office, there's probably like little scrape marks on the floor next to the legs where it's just been going back and forth. It's disgusting.
It's abominable.
Don't do that sort of thing at work.
And so unprofessional.
Work is for cheese and wine, not shagging about.
Yeah, imagine how much of an uproar there would have been.
If Boris Johnson
and his crew were
it was a work meeting.
It was a work orgy. We were blowing off steam. Okay.
Right, Gemma, I'm going to pass over to you.
How political of you, Michael.
I know. I've been seeing what's in the news this week and everything.
Okay.
Tell us what's been going on with Emma this week, please.
The other thing we didn't mention is that Gemma is also done up in a pink outfit, and hats off to Dolly Rose Campbell for allowing the wardrobe department to dress her in an outfit one size too small.
Well, that's been her thing for years, hasn't it?
Yes, she's always worn ill-fitting clothing. Her pins in those lovely backless fluffy pink mules that she was wearing, she's got a good pair of legs, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Takes a lot of, I don't know if it's confidence or just the inability to say no when they tell you what to wear, but good on her, because she's got actually a really nice figure, and they make her look as they want to, which is
porky.
Somebody who can't dress very well. No, don't say porky. Somebody who's not very good at dressing herself, which is supposed to be the joke.
Yeah.
So Gemma's getting the room ready at Chariot Square, so we're to believe that she's responsible for these beautiful arrangements.
Apparently so, yeah.
And Emma's worried that she's not doing the right thing, but Gemma's like, all you need is love, which is, I don't remember that being a Oasis quote. So she's gone to the Liverpool for the Beatles, which I think might be a terrible crime.
It's interesting. This week both
Manchester
started
versus Liverpool. I don't know. Is there
a thing? No, I don't know.
I don't know.
This is another Love Actually reference maybe for the week. They have All You Need Is Love in Love Actually, don't they? And then in today's episode, they had Curtis with his board. Carry on.
Meanwhile, Curtis is calling the airport with his passport out because we last left him in Steve's house about to transfer money.
I thought he was in the flat about to transfer money last week.
We last left him transferring money from Steve's account, £100,000 to ... And
no, go on. Silence. What are you going to say?
What were you gonna say?
What I was going to say is last week on the podcast, we were like saying, right, is he going to steal this money or is he going to actually transfer it to charity? Because it certainly the way he's looking at it with his evil looks, it looks like he's going to be nicking that money for himself. And then I said on the podcast, I don't think so. I think they're just making us think that, but he's actually going to be a goodie and he's transferring it over to charity. And my biggest problem with Corrie this week, or particularly Monday's episode, and yes, I'm going to be a bit of a Scroogey Grinch about it this week, it wasn't that great, is that Monday's episode was so bloody predictable. The minute they had Curtis there with his passport, it's like, right, just pause it for a second, let me write the whole of the episode. Oh, it's identical to what happens. Because as soon as we saw Curtis with his passport, I knew he's like, well, he's booking a surprise honeymoon, isn't he? Because we've seen it time and time again. Every single beat of this story, pretty much, I could see in advance. It was a shame.
How much do you think there's room to write a story in which two characters are going to get married, but there's a misunderstanding and they don't get married in an interesting and unique way, when this show has been going for 61 years and there's actually, how many weddings have already happened, you know?
Quite a few, it's true.
Maybe 100?
Maybe around that, maybe. I don't know. I just thought it was, as I was watching it on Monday, I was like going, yeah, whatever. And it's also a bit annoying to me because I do find Curtis utterly dull and bland. And the way it's going is, well, there's a reunion for him and Emma on the cards, isn't there? I'm fairly convinced at this point that he's going to be back in, and then they're going to have a lovely reunion on Christmas Day. Maybe get Billy to marry them or something. And I don't know what's going to happen. I've not looked at any spoilers, so don't worry if people think I am. I've got no idea, but I think that is quite likely to happen. I'm saying at the moment. And I don't want them to get married. I think that it's a really bad idea. Emma has literally only known him for 5 minutes. He is a massive liar. Although I don't particularly... I did roll my eyes at the end of Monday's episode when Steve didn't tell Emma about the fact that the money had actually been transferred over. I'm kind of on his side for... sort of saying, well, you need to be careful about this bloke because he has been lying to you for all this time. And I'm glad that Tracy backed him up on it as well.
Yeah. What do you want me to say?
Yes, Michael, I completely agree with you. Oh,
right.
no, you're wrong. Love is all you need. I mean, all you need is...
There's only so much you can really do with this story.
That's just my little rant. There's probably going to be more to come later. Gemma, back to you. Curtis is with his passport.
Tracy's prepared the flowers and they look a bit like the sort of ones you put on a coffin.
Oh yeah, it was their names in pink flowers, wasn't it?
And Tracy's like, look, that's what she wants. And Amy makes it crack about... I can't remember. I think Tracy makes it crack about, is that going to end, maybe it's just a shortcut or whatever. And I think that's how...
Oh yeah. He's dying, isn't he?
Amy doesn't say anything. Then Steve is trying to write his father of the bride's speech. And he's like, oh no, I don't know how to write it. Don't worry, Steve, we won't get that far. Then Steve tells Amy that Curtis has transferred this money, and she's like, why don't you check to see if it's actually there? So he gets worried because you can see it's left to the account, but it hasn't actually got to the charity. And then Amy says, okay, Dad, I've got to level with you here. Curtis is actually a massive liar, and there's no doubt in my mind that this £100,000 has been half-inched by him, and he is going to scalp her and never be seen again. Later on, Emma's got her dress on. Sean didn't get any kudos for this, even though he designed and made this.
Oh yeah, he did, doesn't he? I forgot about
gown,
that.
And it's how do you describe it? It's like a plunge.
Princessy.
It's made of like a sort of a see-through satiny kind of gauzy material with like little foldy bits around like the knee area and then a full-length bit underneath it. So it's got a kind of full skirty bit but goes down. Very, very beautiful.
Very, very lovely.
She looked absolutely gorgeous.
She's at the hotel, isn't she? Wondering where Stephen and Amy are.
Is it the hotel or is it the super secret wedding venue that's definitely not above?
No, it was definitely supposed to be Chariot Square.
Okay.
Because that's where they all get married these days.
She's there waiting with Gemma. And she's like, where's everybody? Where's Steve? Where's Curtis? And Gemma's like, oh, I'll phone up Amy to find out. Then we get to see Blue Merrick returning.
Yay! This is the best thing ever this week.
The registrar. She's been the registrar for...
She's like 18 years.
Yeah, 18
she's been
years.
registrar.
How many... She's done loads of weddings and she's like our favourite.
She was last seen marrying Gary and Maria.
That's
right.
That
last year? That
Show
was the
Us
Show Us Your Rings wedding.
So
I never expected to come up again because it felt like she used to be a little bit more frequent the registrar.
Since they've got a dedicated vicar in Billy, it seems like you would use him. But actually, all these heathens just get married in the hotel. It's kind of funny. Like, I don't know who's in charge of this because lots of other things that happen that don't make any sense. But obviously, having a vicar marry somebody in a hotel is beyond the pale and impossible. And maybe somebody at the Church of England is like, look, yes, he can be on smack. Yes, he can be gay. But he's not going to be marrying anybody in an unholy, unsanctioned place.
Bistros and hotels.
No
Church
way.
only.
Only churches. Even if it is a fake wedding.
I was so happy to see her.
She was wearing a beautiful dress and she looked absolutely cracking, didn't she?
She looked like she'd let her hair down a bit. Whenever I picture her, she's always got the tight ponytail pulled back.
I think she's always wearing a suit in my mind as well.
But she had a nice blue flowery dress.
Beautiful. Anyway, she's trying to upstage the bride, obviously. Meanwhile, Steve and Amy are in Emma's flat and they found Curtis's passport and they're starting to put 2 and 2 together to make 5, thinking, like we were supposed to, that Curtis has stolen the money, set himself up to go on the lam with the cash, hasn't finished packing, even though it's probably cutting it a bit fine, leaving all the evidence everywhere. Then Curtis turns up at the venue in his beautiful pink velour suit. And the registrar's like, look, I know that not everyone's here, but I've got another booking after this, and you've got to hurry up because I need to get in and out.
That's a classic registrar line, isn't it?
I said to you, I wonder how many times Blue Merrick has had to say, I'm really sorry, but if you don't get married soon, you're going to have to rebook your slot because I've got another wedding. Like, she's a busy woman.
I know. And she probably has to change her outfit to match the occasion for each one.
I have to say, even though her dress was very nice, it didn't match because she was wearing blue.
No, it was vibrant.
It was like a floral blue.
Yeah, it wasn't straight laced and serious, was it? For the somber occasion.
No, but what I'm saying is, like,
of Curtis and Emma.
If you knew it was pink, would you go, oh, I'll wear pink? Or is that like the bride only wears pink? Like, now this is the honorary white of the occasion, you can't wear it.
Look, Gemma, she's not called Pink Merrick, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. Gemma was also wearing pink, and she was wearing a sort of a kind of a more fitted version of what Emma was wearing without the flouncy bits at the bottom. So they're like, oh no, what should we do? It looks like Tracy's going to have to give Emma away, and she kind of insists on it, doesn't she? And
Gemma's going, no, don't let her.
Yeah, and Emma's like, oh, I guess I'll have to. Then she walks down the aisle to Iron Maiden, which I think they think is funnier than it actually was, because this keeps coming up that Emma's dad liked Iron Maiden or death metal or something.
Yeah,
they've mentioned this many occasions.
I don't know whether it's been many occasions, but it's been enough.
It feels like it's enough that you go, yeah, we know.
You didn't make it up for this, but it felt almost like it was too infrequent a mentioning that lots of people would be going, why are they doing this?
It just felt like it didn't, like, it wasn't like, oh, look at the juxtaposition. It was more like, well, this doesn't go, and clearly anyone would say.
No, I when she was walking down the aisle to that, I was like just thinking, no, I know it's her dad's favourite and everything, but it seemed stupid. Sorry.
I just wonder. I mean, I know Iron Maiden is a really famous band, but like I would have imagined, and they've done this before, and it's quite a funny joke, and it works when you do an acoustic version of somebody's song.
Well, yeah, like when Steve and Karen got married and they had Wonderwall by a harpist, didn't they?
But I don't think you can do that with Iron Maiden.
The thing is, I don't think anybody knows any Iron Maiden songs.
I
If they
didn't
had a
want to say
harpist
that.
playing it,
I didn't want to say
nobody
that.
would have noticed.
I wonder how much it would have cost to have got an opera singer in to like go, ah! I just think it could have been, I just thought it probably was better on paper.
It was a massive miss for me.
Okay. She's walking down the aisle, and Steve comes in shouting, stop! And it's followed by Craig, who's like, hey, guess what? We're actually above the police station, which is actually really handy. Psst, Curtis, you're under arrest.
They did have Coulson on Corrie's advent calendar just today, actually. Was it today?
Yes, it was today. And he said, hello, everyone, I'm going to tell you a secret. And I was like, please, Coulson, do that. Psst, come here. Come here, tell you a secret. He obviously hates us, like in my dream. So he announces that he's got to take him down the station about this missing charity money.
Yeah, down to the station. It's just downstairs.
Yeah. It's not going to take too much of your time. Everyone's aghast, obviously, apart from Emma, who's like, well, she knows about the lies about him not being sick, but she is very shocked to hear that he's also a thief. And she says, Curtis, tell me this is a mistake. Then they have a little break. They have a pan around. That was quite good.
Oh, that was the post-break, wasn't it? Yeah. The camera just stood in the middle and rotated, and everyone was kind of nicely spaced out, going, ooh, imagine, like that. Curtis then, when the camera's finished, I think, he waits nicely, and then he says, oh, it's on me, okay. I transferred the money, I swear. And at this stage, any normal person would be going, oh my God, where did it go then? I know.
I don't know where I put it, because I definitely did the numbers. Give me the thing again, because I'm sure.
Yeah.
Or most people would have gone, no, I didn't transfer it, because it was midnight and I was drunk, and it's not even my problem.
I just think that Corrie doesn't want to think about it too hard, because
don't think about it.
We'd fall.
Are you thinking about it?
I am.
Don't think about it.
I mean, we said last week the whole thing about you can't transfer that much on an online bank account in one transaction using just somebody's account number and their PIN, which is what Steve had given Curtis. The whole premise of being able to do it, and setting up a charity fund with your own current account. The whole thing was,
Nitpicking.
the whole notion was ridiculous.
Nitpicking.
And then the way they explain it at the end, well, we'll get to that in a little bit, but oh yeah, there was too much in this story that I couldn't put to one side to fully go with it.
So he's like, look, I did transfer the money, but I did lie and I did not walk up 3 hills in a day. And I'm also not really sick, except I am sick in my head. I like the way he's completely latched onto this. I don't know if this is actually a real life symptom of factitious disorder, but he seems to be perfectly happy with going, yeah, maybe I'm not sick in my body, but I'm sick in my head, so I still need attention and love. So it works both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think he's got away with it now. Anyway, Craig's like, right, come with me. Steve says to Emma, it's for the best. She's obviously justifiably quite upset about this. Tracy, meanwhile, is like trying to work out what the heck's going on, and this is when Emma says he's got a condition. Audrey was quite funny. She had a great line before Steve turned up when he was late, and she said, well, everyone knows he's a stupid idiot.
Did she say that? I can't remember that.
So she's there wiping her nose with the tissue. Probably can't see what the hell's going on. Nobody's helping her. She ushers everyone away so that Emma can have a little cry in peace. She does a lot. There's a lot of scenes of her like lounging around on the floor in various sad poses in her beautiful function room.
Oh.
Craig,
they even had grass on the floor, didn't they? Fake grass.
I thought this was fantastic. But you can see why. If I was Amy, I would be really annoyed at this point because this was my university tuition fund, and then I haven't even got married.
Yeah.
So Craig interviews Curtis, and Curtis is like, "Look, I've got factitious disorder. Just look it up or listen to the last episode of Conversation Street because they did the thing about it. She looked on Wikipedia, so she's legit." And Craig is like, "Look."
I don't listen to that rubbish. Have you heard of...
I've heard of a load of old...
what's that? I forgot what that podcast
Sofa Cinema
called.
Club.
You had a Sofa Cinema Club. That's awesome.
I listen to Sofa Cinema Club.
They got a YouTube channel this week
because they're cool and they've got a set.
Yeah.
And they're famous, so he
and
listens
got
to
a massive
podcasts
billboard
by losers, not me. So he says, I don't believe you. I think that you didn't transfer the money and you're a thief. So, meanwhile, Emma's on the throne with Steve and she says, I was...
It sounds like she's having a poo.
Have you ever seen those videos of those pictures of like these weird like setups in like nightclub bathrooms and stuff where there's like a cubicle with 2 toilets on it? I didn't know they were for father-daughter heart-to-heart following a failed marriage.
She's got actual Posh and Beck style wedding thrones, hasn't she?
Now imagine, I mean, we don't know this, Michael. I know you're a Spice Girls fan, but I don't know if this has ever been revealed, whether they were actually toilets.
I don't think they were.
Posh and Beck's thrones.
I don't think Victoria needed them. She didn't really.
No, you can't
didn't really consume anything.
Can't make a joke.
She?
So she says, I was going to tell you about the fact that he was a big fat liar, but if I'd said, you would have told me to leave him. And he was like, yep, it's a bad idea. He takes her home. She sees the bags and the passport, and she realises she's been a fool. And it definitely can't be because he was going to surprise her on her honeymoon. Curtis then comes in and says, I've been let out. Please hear my pleas. So she confronts him, says, what about this? And he says, I've booked us a surprise honeymoon.
What?
But I want to know.
What a twist.
How come he can't actually say where it was?
Yeah, did they actually say where they were going to go? I don't know.
I've bought you a non-specific honeymoon to a location which is safe to travel to at this point in time to be ascertained.
I think that if I was Curtis and I wanted to book Emma a surprise honeymoon right now,
Legoland.
I'd go like Lapland probably. I'd probably go and take her to see Santa. I think she'd love that.
Legoland.
She'd go and see the Northern Lights, go and stay in a nice hotel.
I don't think you can leave. I don't really
nice
think it's a
hotel.
good idea to leave the country. So I'd take her to Windsor Safari Park.
No.
She'd be like, oh my God, look at the lions, all of them. Oh, Curtis's best ever rad. Oh,
But
look at all the tigers wearing little Santa hats.
they were
It's
definitely
so
going
adorable.
somewhere foreign because he had a passport.
That's true. That is true.
Why didn't he have Emma's passport out?
And she hasn't changed her name yet, so...
Yeah.
Anyway, she's like, don't believe you because I would only want to go to 3 places this time of year. Windsor Safari Park, Lapland or Legoland, and they're all closed. So you're a liar. Then Steve gets a phone call. Who's it from? The charity. Hi, Steve.
Yes.
We're so grateful for that £100,000 you sent us. Thanks for that. What's that? It's come through. Oh, yeah, no problem. It just takes a while, sometimes. £100,000. Bit suspicious.
They said it was a technical fault, and that was the way the writers were just like, no more questions about this. It was just the bug. It was just the glitch.
I want that. You know how, like, when you watch it on, I can't remember what channel it is or what time it is, but they do the the signing to interpret. I want, instead of that, like, every so often, Ian McLeod to just pop up and go, shut up, nerds! It's just how it goes.
Yeah, that's us. Oh, come on. A technical fault.
Michael, get over it.
Just imagine.
It's
Imagine
Christmas.
if this was real life. Just imagine if you transferred £100,000. Do you remember when we put the deposit
Yeah, I
down
do.
on our house earlier this year? And that was a lot less than £100,000, and we were absolutely bricking it. For,
I couldn't
how long
even.
did that take?
I made you do
a couple
it.
of hours?
I made you do it. I couldn't do it.
And then this was like over the week. Well, it wasn't over the weekend. It was a day in Weatherfield world. There should be a scandal. This bank needs closing down.
Who are you going to tell? Your local councillor?
Yeah.
Which one, Maria or Sally? Anyway, Emma comes in, but he doesn't tell her because he wants to prolong the drama.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, it's the morning after. Tracy is still moaning about how awful Curtis is. What a horrible man. Everyone's slagging him off, and Steve's there going, yeah, he's terrible. Yeah, he's such a thief. Oh, it's awful.
Ooh, a liar.
And Steve's like, oh, the police are definitely looking into getting the money back, and they're pretty sure that it's just a technical fault. Emma goes and sits in she stands in Seb's garden, and she lays her flowers on his little bench, which is really sweet. And she's moaning about men, because I forgot, there was a time when it was a love triangle between Seb, Alina, and Emma. And she was like, oh, you weren't that bad. Oh, sad you got kicked to death.
When the whole thing with the giant check came through, Steve should have just said, I told you, Emma. No, I know, but when it did, Steve should have just said, I told you that the police were onto it. They got it. It's quick,
police
innit?
Always, whenever you get something stolen off of you, the police always come with a comically large check or photo of the thing that they're going to return.
Yeah.
Their favourite thing, believe it or not, is to return lost cats, because they can print a giant picture of a cat, and people always say, oh, it's too big for my house, and they're like, don't worry, we'll take it back with us. And they've got a whole room downstairs. It's weird.
The giant cat
just
room.
covered in giant checks with cats on them.
I would get arrested just to have a chance to see that.
Would you? I don't think they put them in the cells. Anyway,
Aggie comes
Aggie
over,
does a
doesn't she?
lot
No,
on
can I be in
Wednesday
this
of her
episode?
going, oh, what's this? Are you sad about something? Can I help you? Can I be in this? Can I counsel you? Because apparently Toya is crap now, and she's become a customer service rep at Underworld or something. Anyway, she's like, I was really sorry to hear about your wedding going kaput. Emma says, I never want to see Curtis again.
Aggie's also like, oh, and he was even able to convince me that he was going to be a doctor.
Which is worrying, Aggie. Really worrying, because it literally took Emma saying one thing off a post-it note for him to admit, to back out of the whole thing. I'm starting to wonder if Aggie's even a nurse. Later on,
she wasn't doing any boosters this week, was she, Aggie? That's how. I don't know,
I don't know if
why
nurses
not.
do them, or if it's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Guess, I don't know.
I don't even know who did mine. Where did I get mine done?
You went to a pharmacy today.
I went to a pharmacy today, so it was a pharmacist, but I think it was probably nurses. I got that done in a doctor's surgery before. Anyway,
Photographer comes
to Steve's house
from the Mitochondrial Society charity,
and he says, "Here's the giant check. Thank you very much for giving us £100,000." It's a bit weird if you give someone £100,000 and they come around your house with a check for £100,000. You're like, what are you gonna? We're gonna just pass it backwards and forwards. So he wants to take a photo of Steve looking happy, but he knows Emma's in the flat, so he's like trying to hide him.
Emma comes walking down Rosamond Street, so
he like quick, come inside. Then Curtis goes into the flat while Emma's there, and he does that thing, the Love Actually scene with Keira Knightley and the guy who fights zombies. And he's like got the little things going. Sorry, I pretended I was sick, but I've got a condition or whatever.
You just like, it was a bit useless, really. It was like, I love you, I'm so sorry, I can explain. It didn't say much. It wasn't exactly poetry.
I kind of liked the nod to Love Actually.
Yeah, I think it had the same music that they had.
They
in the
did.
film
It was
as well.
because he came to the door and he put on Silent Night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Choir singing Silent Night, and he's like, "Don't shut up, Karen Knightley, shut up." I know it's weird because
It's creepy.
you're like 17 and I'm 25. Anyway, yeah, she's like, "Shut up! I'm not interested in any of this." Apparently, Love Actually is their favourite film. I think she wants to recreate Home Alone with him, but he's not into being hit in the face with an iron, so they have to compromise.
Oh, I'd do it. I'd be Macaulay Culkin if I got a chance to do that to him. Boring sod.
Shut up. He says, "I definitely did not steal the money, and you can tell because here's my bank account with no money in it." And she's like, "Well, that doesn't prove anything. What are you talking about, you lunatic?
It's
You're
also not supposed to be
insane."
his bank account. Is it Steve's bank account you were showing him?
No, he's saying, if I had stolen the money, I'd put it in my bank account, and it's not there.
That's right, yeah. And she says, "Well, you probably got other."
Emma's like, "Don't
criminal
be
bank
stupid.
accounts.
I know you would have invested it in an ISA, or perhaps you would have bought some premium bonds. What lunatic would leave £100,000 in their current account when it's only guaranteed up to £80,000?
Steve.
And then Curtis would be like, "Oh yeah, actually, I should probably move it." She says, "I don't want anything to do with you. You're only trying to get me back because you want to get to Steve funds or something like that." Then Curtis goes and cries on Maxine's bench. Emma watches him out the window and he kind of looks at her and stuff, and it's weird, but she's not having it. Then, that's when the giant check and some elves arrive at number one.
Before it was just the photographer, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the comedy
Steve's
photographer.
like, hide. Emma sees it because she comes out, and the photographer's like, "Oh, he's a hero, isn't he?" And "Who are you?" And she says, "I'm the daughter." And he's like, "Oh," she's like, "Oh, great, come and stand in the photo. Isn't your dad amazing that he's raised £100,000? And Emma's there looking at Steve. He's going, "I told you it'd be fine in the end." Awkward. So she realises something has happened. She storms into the house after they finish the photo shoot. Steve's behind her saying, "I'm really sorry. I look, the money ended up here, but I only just found out, honestly. It's not my fault." So she tries to ring Curtis to apologise, but she can't get through to him, so she goes to look. Then Tracy finds out what Steve's done, and she's like, "Well, I think it's probably better in the long run because we don't really want Curtis in the family when he's a psychopath."
And you're in for one psychopath in his family. Murderer.
Exactly.
Me, Tracy Barlow.
Yeah.
She didn't want competition.
She's right. This has done Emma a favour in the long run. We know that Curtis and Emma are not destined to be the next Corrie couple after Jack and Vera,
I certainly
or
hope not.
anyone else who's
Remembered with any kind of affection.
Debbie sees Emma. She says, "Oh, I've got a word. I want a word with you. Your boyfriend's just handed his notice in." And Emma's like, "Oh gosh, where is he? I was looking for him." And she says, "He's just gone to the tram stop." Because on Coronation Street, when you leave, you do so immediately after handing your notice in to your boss with, you don't need to serve any notice.
No.
And it's only Christmas. It's not like they're busy.
And 95% of the time you do it by going to the tram stop as well. I don't know how people left Weatherfield before the tram
In the back
stop.
of a taxi.
It used to be back of the taxi, didn't it? Yeah.
But
Now it's the tram stop.
He can't get Steve to give him a lift anywhere.
No.
So, there you go.
He could have got on the Weatherfield Wayfarer.
Yeah, bus, tram, taxi. Do you reckon actually maybe this is part of Corrie's green pledge? To reduce the number of taxi exits in favour of tram stop exits. So she goes back to number one to speak to Steve, and she's really upset. Like, "How could you do this?" And he says, "I wanted to protect you."
Yeah, because she goes to the tram stop, doesn't she? But he's not there.
Gone forever.
Forever.
Steve tries to make her see that this is probably a good thing, and that all the stuff that she thought she loved about him was a lie, and she fell in love with somebody who wasn't even real.
Probably even got a fake beard.
Exactly. And would she have even wanted to marry him so quickly if she hadn't thought he was dying? She doesn't really want to hear all this, and she says, "Look, I know myself, I know what's best for me, but you lied just like Curtis did." And then she goes off to the flat and cries alone.
Lots of Emma sobbing this week.
Yeah.
I think she's a shoo-in for the Weatherfield Waterworks award at next year's Bobbins.
I really think you're right.
Well, I've said what I thought about this story, Gemma. I thought it was very predictable on Monday, and just a bit. Even it still was. If they're not reunited in some sickening Christmas makeup scene on Christmas Day, I'm going to be very surprised Not disappointed, because I don't really want them to get back together again, because I don't think they're that engaging a couple at all. But yeah, I think that's where it's going. And I'm sad about it, because I don't want Emma to be tied to this dullard. What do you think?
I do agree with you. The thing is, it really feels like there are certain things that just feel predictable after you've not just watching a soap, but just watching fictional stories for a certain amount of time. Like you say, you can predict where you think a story is going. And sometimes the story can be unpredictable, which is more fun to watch. But I feel like the unpredictable thing would just be Emma crying alone at Christmas, which isn't that fun to watch. You know what I mean? Like, there's predictable, and then there's off the wall and unsatisfying. So where are they going to go? I don't think it would be that nice if they did get married at Christmas. That's the thing. You keep saying, I feel like they're going to actually get married at Christmas and it'll be sweet and everything. I don't think it will be, because we all know that Emma shouldn't be with Curtis because he's a liar.
I think that Corrie is trying to make us think, oh no, he's fine really. He's got a disorder. With Emma's help, he can get through this. I think we're supposed to like him. And the fact that Emma went off to him and was like, oh, and the fact that they made Steve a liar as well. So just as bad as Curtis, but actually Curtis isn't so bad. I don't know. I think that we're supposed to be rooting for them. I think that it would have been much better. I was almost kind of hoping and thinking maybe this would happen, because it felt so predictable on Monday about where it was going. If at the end of the episode he had been, that's right, I have stolen your money, off I go, then that would have been the massive twist. But
I know it would have been made sense if he'd gone, look, Emma, yeah, I took the money, but I need it because I'm sick. If we invest this £100,000 into trying to cure my factitious disorder, I can be cured forever, and then I won't be sick in my head anymore.
I don't know. I just think it would have been cool if he'd have just done an actual runner.
That's because you don't like him.
But does any? I'm surely not alone in this. He's just not that exciting character, is he?
They haven't given him a lot to work with.
I don't know whether it's.
But also, don't forget, we actually don't know who he is. Same as Emma.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he could very well, now this is all out in the open, develop a personality,
or
and
be really cool
see the real Curtis. But I'm not holding out much hope for that. And the two of them being Boo and what's the other one, Boo Bar and Bumface or whatever. It's just sickeningly soppy and not that compelling a relationship at all. I don't know. That's all there is to it, and I hope that the fact that now Tracy is joining Steve in saying no, we need to stop this, or Emma was right, or she's she didn't realise how lucky she is. Maybe gives me a slither of hope that this relationship is doomed. But I don't know.
Michael,
I think
if it makes you feel any better, I would like to remind you that at the end of the day, all relationships on Coronation Street are ultimately doomed.
Yeah, but I don't want them to be. I want there to be some decent, long-lasting, solid relationships, and not see another character that I like. I think I maybe used to like her more. Get saddled with somebody that's ultimately going to go nowhere, and he'll be probably out the show in a few months or years.
I will say another thing that I think they keep making Emma into a dramatic character who has sad things happen to her, because Ali Mardell is a really great actress and she can handle those scenes really well. And in the sense, are they just trying to make her a new Raquel? Because Raquel's really fondly remembered as being a very comedic comedy actress, but a lot of Raquel's real storylines were actually really sad and tragic, and she had a really hard life.
Yeah, I know.
And I think that when you look back, if you look back on her with rose-tinted glasses, you might have a different idea about what Raquel was actually about. So in a sense, it's quite true to say that she is a Raquel 2.0. But I think that some stories just don't suit certain characters, and I don't think Man Trouble suits Emma.
No.
But that's what they keep pushing on that character.
Lots of people were rooting for Curly and Raquel as well, weren't they? As disastrous as they actually were, and they weren't necessarily right for each other.
It would be really lovely if she had somebody like that you know.
Curtis for me has always felt like an extra that's
like
been
a
brought
blank.
in for a story, and that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, but wasn't Curly in the show before Raquel?
Oh yeah, he was in the show for nearly 10 years
it's
before
probably...
Raquel. I think that counts a lot for it, actually. But anyway, we'll see whether I'm right in a few days' time, and I'm sure I'll be eating crow again, because quite often I get irate about something that I think is going to happen on Coronation Street, and then it doesn't. So we will see, and then you can all write in and tell me stop getting mad about stuff that hasn't happened yet, Michael. But I'm just in one of those moods today. Let's talk about the Abby and Kelly and Nina and all that sort of storyline. Let's see what's been going on with them. So starts off, remember, Abby's back from her honeymoon with Kevin. She gets called out to call out on Monday. She's still coming down from the whole excitement of the honeymoon and everything. But when she's gone, Tebby tells Kevin about Kelly living at number 7 now, and she works at the barber's too. And you should really warn Abby before she finds out herself, our brother Kevin. So meanwhile, we got Asher inviting Nina out to go and do some shopping, but she can't really with Roy away. Did they explain today how Nina was able to have a stall out on the market while Roy was away? Because she seems to be single-handedly...
Nobody was looking after the shop.
Bernie works there, actually, doesn't she, sometimes? So maybe Bernie was in at that point.
People keep saying, oh, I'm going to pop to the Christmas market and do some shopping. I can't wait to go back to the Christmas market. I love the Christmas market. It's so much to do and see. I'm going to go shopping for some bits at the Christmas market. Hey, do you want to go to the Christmas market later? Yeah, I would love to. I love the Christmas market. But as far as I can tell, they've got 2 mulled wine stalls, a wreath stall, a stall that sells rolls, and... not
much else.
Yeah.
And also a Roy's stall, when actually I don't really need to go... Oh yeah, and I don't really need to go to that because the actual Roy's is literally 5 minutes
And they
away.
definitely have a stall where you can buy tat for Grace.
Oh yes, there was a tat
Gloria,
stall, wasn't there?
Baby tat. So wreath, wine,
Mechanical Jesuses.
Mechanical Jesuses, rolls, and baby tat.
They do they are making out like it's...
and an area for singing.
Yeah. They are kind of making out that, the Arndale is likely to be going out of business any day soon because of how awesome this Christmas market is.
Just imagine the security guard standing at the entrance of the shopping centre going, did you open that? I opened the doors, didn't I? Can you just check that door's unlocked?
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, we're in a moany mood today. So, Faye also...
It's not moaning, it's being comically whatever.
Okay, that's my excuse for it. Faye also can't go with... I'm
very tired. I've had
with
my
Asher
jab.
because she's got a driving lesson with Craig today. So we've got... I'm just wondering how long it's going to be before Faye runs into somebody. She nearly ran into Nina at one point today. No, she nearly ran into Asher later on in the episode, didn't she? Because this all ties into Nina worrying that something awful is going to happen to Asher, just like it did to Craig.
Well, I would like to say that I don't trust any teenage girls on the street in the car, because it seems like whenever they get behind the wheel, one of them's either plotting to kill somebody or accidentally running them over. Or, if they're not behind the wheel, they're in front of the car, dodging out the way, crossing the road without looking.
Yeah, so Asher nearly gets splattered today, but it's all fine because she was only going 5 miles an hour. Abby gets back from her call out later. Kevin wants to have a chat with her, but it's too late. She spies Kelly coming out of the cabin and marches right over to her and says, "Oh, you doing what you do around here? Your fault my son's dead. Sling your hook, missus." And then Kelly's like, "Fine, whatever, I'm going." And then Abby sees her letting herself into number 7, and she is floored by this. She's mad at Kevin too for not mentioning before about Kelly, and Kevin's like, "Oh, hang on a minute, I only just found this out myself. Actually, no, maybe I did see the Kelly and Nina hanging out just ever so slightly as we went off on our honeymoon. Yeah, sorry about that, but didn't want to spoil it for you."
I just need to quickly say something. I know that some people don't like Abby, and there's definitely been criticism of her for not being able to forgive Kelly for killing her son. And I can...
Being involved in the death of her son.
But I would just like to point out that this has only happened within months. Her son's dead. This is the first Christmas that she's had to spend without him. She still blames Kelly, and I blame Kelly, and I'm not even related to Seb. I think she's justified in having an opinion about whether Kelly was responsible. It's still arguable one way or the other because she didn't phone the ambulance. It's not a criminal matter, but it's still arguable about whether or not, if you were doing a TV show and you're like, who was in the right? I don't think everyone would go, well, Kelly, obviously. I think she did nothing wrong. Really, honestly, no matter whether she suffered for it or not, it's none of Abby's concern. And the other thing...
Abby doesn't want a permanent reminder of
her son's death.
Flaunting
That's
down
why
the
she
street.
trashed the garden.
Yeah.
The other thing is, Abby lives here. Kelly doesn't live here. She's just moved in because she had nowhere else to go. Or does she? Is it possible that she could live literally anywhere else? I think so. I don't think it's really fair.
Hard enough.
I don't really think it's fair, whether you like Abby or not, to blame her for getting mad about seeing Kelly for, like, you know, you can count on both your hands the number of times she's seen Kelly since Seb's died. It's still going to be raw every time she sees her. And her son really has only just died. It's not been that long. Yeah. And it was a horrific, sad and tragic death that Kelly was present for. And I don't care how sad and sorry she is about it. It doesn't mean it didn't happen.
But you're right, there has been an awful lot of criticism
even
aimed at Abby online, hasn't there?
Even if it was a car accident, even if just forget the whole thing and imagine that your child was run over by somebody completely by accident in a car, and then they moved across the road from you and kept trying to say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Would you want to hear it after the second or third time and you've said, I'm not interested? Would you want to see them every day when it was like 6 months since your kid has died? No, you wouldn't, and you'd be totally justified. Nobody owes anybody anything. She doesn't owe her forgiveness. It's not Abby's responsibility, and I really don't think it's fair to expect her, especially considering that she is a very passionate and outspoken person at the best of times, to completely ditch that part of her personality to just let Kelly, do whatever she wants and be forgiven. Because really, Kelly is only asking for her forgiveness because she feels guilty. And that's a very understandable emotion, but nobody owes it to you, and you don't get to keep asking and demanding forgiveness from the victim of a crime after you've already asked them more than once and they have said no. I just don't think it's fair.
I prefer Abby when she's, every time, and it hasn't happened many times, but when she does march over to Kelly and she's like having a go at her, it is starting to get a little wearisome.
I will agree with that.
I've got... I
More
think
sympathy for Abby.
Abby is one of these characters that really, really massively has to screw up for me to not like her, because she was an absolute favourite of mine, so I can overlook certain things. And people are saying, oh, Abby's done a whole lot worse. She was holding a gun to Corey's head just a few months ago. She's done this, that and the other, and I totally get that, but she's still one of my favourites, and I still think that she's a brilliant actress, brilliant character, lots of fun, lots of vim, lots of life to her. And
this is the thing, you can
massive asset to the show, so I will forgive her.
You can enjoy a character, and it's got nothing to do with whether you agree with their morals or not. In fact, it's usually more interesting when you don't, and you can be drawn into somebody's logic and their thought processes, and it's compelling and interesting because the writers and the actors have managed to convince you to go against almost all your best and impulses to sympathise with somebody who's so completely different from you. I couldn't be more different from Abby. I'm not a very confrontational person. I'm not an drug addict. I don't have a dead son and 2 children that live in Australia. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not practical.
Tell you what though, Gemma, you do really like Christmas.
I love Christmas. I don't like cows with bras on because it's anatomically incorrect, because cows don't have teats, they have udders. And also, I'm not a heroine that runs into burning factories and buildings to save people. I just call the fire brigade. So I don't have a lot in common with Abby, but I really do like her. I totally agree with what people are saying. I don't think she's right to keep marching up to and confronting Kelly. But I really
think Kelly is only 17 or so.
She's a young girl. She's trying her hardest.
Abby's nearly 40. By.
I do get it, but at the same time, I think you've got to cut her some slack here. I think people are being really harsh, but the trouble is with soaps in general, time moves much faster, and people get over things much quicker than they do in real life. In real life, you'd be expecting Abby to be in mourning for a year or more over this. In real life, you would be. You would in real life, you'd never get over the death of your child ever, ever, ever. So to expect her to be fine with it, a few months down the line, I think is a bit of a big ask.
So Abby goes to the cafe later to have a go at Nina for
Yeah.
for forgiving
Just have a go at
Kelly and
everybody.
inviting her into not her home, but to the street
To
to live.
not condemning her immediately.
Yeah, Nina also tells her that she and Asher are an item again, and Abby wishes her well, but she is admittedly pretty gutted about that skank Kelly staying at number 7 still.
Yeah.
That skank. Nina says, look, I tell you what, the other week I was out, so just out there, outside the Corrie Studios, where we all meet up afterwards and go to the Imperial War Museum together.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly had a beer poured over the top of her head, and I saved her from that, so that kind of made me feel sympathetic for her, and now we're cool now. And Abby's like, I don't care about that, what a load of rubbish. I'm so mad about this. And she says, well, Seb wouldn't want you angry like this if he was still here, so just think about that. And Abby says, well, he's not here, is he? So I'll get as angry as I like.
I don't like this argument of people saying stuff like that. They wouldn't want you to be sad and upset. Like, really, honestly, do you know that for a fact? And also, it's irrelevant because the reason I'm sad and upset is because he's not here. So.
Seb would want you to be cool about the fact that he's been murdered.
Seb would just want you to enjoy the garden.
Just want you to chill, yeah. Later on, Ardy's trying to stop Kelly from packing and leaving, saying, oh, you're not a bad person, blah, blah, blah. Try talking to Abby one last time. So she does. She goes around number 13 with Ardy and basically gets sling out on her ear, doesn't she? Abby's like, don't want to know. Sod off. Stay away from me. Don't ever come around here again. So Asher goes, after closing of the cafe, Asher goes around to see Nina. She's worried about her. Nina says about Abby coming over, feeling pretty stressed out. And Asher says, oh, maybe I'll come and stay over with you tonight. So, ha, 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 ha. So that's the end of that. Also that episode, and I've got this a bit separate in the notes because I thought this was a different storyline going on earlier, but we had the whole charade with Kelly becoming the Weatherfield's next best stylist because she was able to run a brush through Stu's unruly mop and have him looking pretty much the same as he was before he started, but it's enough to make Maria hire Kelly on the spot and say, you can be my apprentice, because like everyone else now, we all forgive you for everything that happened with Seb.
My behind the scenes interpretation of what happened here was when they hired the actor, they said, right, you're going to play a homeless guy. Can you grow your hair out, please? Because we don't think he'd be able to get to the hairdressers. Not many people have. It's COVID, etc., etc. Make your hair a bit longer to sort of demonstrate, that you're out in the elements and finding it difficult to take care of yourself. And he says, brilliant, okay, yeah, no problem. Grows his hair out, and then they say, right, okay, now we're going to do the scene where Kelly cuts your hair back and you get it short back and sides. And he's like, no. Love it like this. It's absolutely brilliant. I didn't realise how great I look with long hair. Have you not seen how great I look? Everyone on Twitter thinks I look amazing. So, no, you can cut an inch off. So, like, oh, great, okay.
Oh, you said that you should get a man bun, didn't you? Then
they could have at least...
Abby would have seen him and got a Seb flashback.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember that guy that showed up outside, that posh guy?
That's Seb's hairstyle. Wah, 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 wah. What?
No. The guy that showed up outside...
Oh yeah,
the posh one with the man bun, and he was called like
something... the one that Shona cut the man bun off the top of.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's probably why he didn't do it. Because Shona was going to help herself.
Right, Wednesday then. Today's episode. Nina's still panicking. She's got to set up this stall at the market later.
All she needs to do is put a table out with a sign that says "This way to the Royals Rolls." We can buy everything that we were going to sell here, but it's about 3 meters that way.
Now you can drink it in the cold and your coffee will get cooler faster.
Now you can have a roll and mulled wine at the same time.
She was fine about it when she and Shona were setting up a stall in the middle of the street just 6 months ago to block all the traffic off.
To be fair, it was warmer then.
That's true. We also see some scenes of the Websters getting festive together. Nina's wondering where Asher is. She hasn't turned up at the market. She starts panicking because these teenagers are crowding around the stall. And these are the teens that later go on to do some singing in the choir.
Maybe that's why they were wearing their uniform.
We were wondering about this because Manchester and Salford schools have definitely broken up for Christmas at this point. So we were wondering why they were going around in their uniforms and why many things about that part of the story. But yeah, Nina's wondering where Asher is. Meanwhile, now this is a mystery of the week that I'm slightly intrigued about. Tyrone's been gathering together some of Seb's stuff from... was it from the flat? Did Emma give it to him? I don't know why this didn't come out before, but maybe it was something that was all that came out when they were doing redecorating, because Emma's flat's been magically redecorated by the Christmas fairies this week, hasn't
I know,
it?
it's really nice.
Anyway, so Tyrone's got a box of stuff as Seb's, and there's a piece of paper in there that catches Kev's interest, and we see him later on in the episode showing it to Tyrone, and they're not telling us what it is, and he's like, Tyrone, don't tell anybody about this, but you just can't ignore it himself.
I think I've got an idea.
Or tell me in a minute. So Kevin goes back to number 13. Abby is totally Christmasified the whole place thanks to a sale at a discount shop. There's a massive tree. There's a wreath with a pair of legs sticking out of it.
There's a Santa on the toilet.
Oh yeah, Santa on the toilet. There's everything. Lights all over the place.
Yeah, lights all over the walls.
She and Jack are loving it. Kevin says, "This is so great. I don't even want to spend any more time looking at it now. Let's go to the bistro later. I think it's going to give me an epileptic fit or something."
I feel like I'm sucking the goodness out of the room with my eyeballs.
Yeah.
And I want to save some for Christmas.
Let's go to the bistro for a treat. Can we go somewhere else for a treat, Kevin? No, it's the bistro.
Speed dial's burned down, you moron. We've got
We've got no option.
And Nina's not serving at Roy's Rolls. We have to go to the bistro.
Yeah, there were a few funny lines for that part of the story, wasn't there? Doesn't Abby say to Debbie that Kevin's opened his wallet, his annual wallet opening or something?
Yeah, I love that. That was really funny.
A massive tightwad. That was funny. Asher finally turns up at Nina's stall. Apparently, Deb had her working overtime for an hour or something. And then some kids come over and run away with a tip jar.
No.
Asher gives chase and Nina has another panic attack with all funny camera things and everything. Comes back later though, got the jar, all
Very
fine.
pleased with herself.
Yeah, but Nina's dead narky at her because she could have got herself hurt or beaten up or kicked to death like Seb was. And Asher's like, well, don't worry, everything's okay. Can I help you pack up now? And Nina's like, no, bugger off, go away.
And also, Carla's there.
Carla is there as well, just to get her.
Yep, next.
Webster's are in the bistro. Oh yeah, this is where Kevin gets his mysterious phone call, which he says is from somebody who was disputing the cost of getting his Ford Fiesta fixed or something.
Well, I didn't know that you could do that because the amount of times I've tried doing this and they're like, no.
But anyway, it's not. It's something about this mysterious letter. And Kevin says, tomorrow, if you're sure, well, I'll see you tomorrow then. So he's got something arranged
Christmas
related to this letter. Have to wait until next episode to find that one out. End of the episode, we have Carla in the cafe with Nina. Nina says, look, I think it's safer for Asher if she stays away from me. The attack on Seb was my fault. I don't want to be responsible for any more hurt and death and upset or anything. Carla says, no, it wasn't your fault. You're only about missus. And Nina says, right, that's it. You're out too, because it definitely was my fault, actually. So,
Carla goes, I don't know if you know this, Nina, but it's perfectly possible to wear black and not attract violence. I've done it for 20 years.
Although she has been in a number of violent scenes, hasn't she?
Oh no, yeah, that's true.
Frank Foster.
I want to quickly say something
Tony
as well.
Gordon.
Just going back to what I was saying about Abby and not forgiving Kelly, and then I think a lot of people would say that Nina has, so why can't Abby? But the difference there is that actually Nina got to see Kelly very vulnerable and human and suffering, and I don't think actually that Abby's seen that.
No, she'd like to though.
Abby hasn't seen Kelly really suffer in a way that feels unjustifiable to her.
I think that
do you see what I'm saying?
I think that if it had been Abby walking around the corner from the Corrie Studios and seeing Kelly getting beer poured over, she'd have probably just stood there and laughed. Honestly,
I think she would have helped her. I think she might have laughed to start with, but I think she would have realised. I think her
natural hero instinct
she's
sort
like,
of kicked
God damn
in.
it, I can't help myself. Do you see what I mean though? The difference between the two people is that I don't think Abby thinks that Kelly was punished enough, and I also don't think she's actually seen her as a human being. And
Nina's attitude towards Kelly before the beer incident was exactly the same as Abby's, yeah.
And we are also, don't forget, seeing more of Kelly than both Nina and Abby have. Really, Abby has no knowledge of
Kelly's
Kelly or what she's done,
philanthropic
or
bent
what
that she's
been through,
recently.
or what happened to her. She doesn't know, so it's more difficult to sympathise. And this is the thing that's the bad thing about human beings, is that if it's not in front of us, we can't really conceive of it, and it's very easy to turn somebody into a non-human.
Yeah. What are you thinking about the all the panic attacks bit for Nina? Because I'm not particularly bothered about that.
I'm not worried about her.
No,
I'm not like, oh no, what will happen?
I guess it's kind of natural story development after everything that's
I think
happened.
she's got like, PTSD.
Yeah, so it seems like it, doesn't it? But I just loved the cool, confident Nina that came into the show a couple of years ago, and I just kind of wanted to go back to that. Really,
it's Carla syndrome.
It is. It's very Carla-y. She's going to be seeing Rana in Hayley's red coat before you know it.
I'm trying to think. Like, it does feel like they do this to strong women in this programme, and in fiction in general. You know, here's a strong woman. What's the story? Wow, let's take her down a peg or two and get some drama out of it.
But she'll get through it eventually.
But Carla hasn't though, has she?
No.
She's like, well, I can see here.
I think Nina will
that
eventually.
Burn too brightly and your candle gets snuffed out, so I'm just gonna dim a little bit.
So tell me what you think about this. What's going on with Seb's note then?
Well, it's obviously something that needs to be arranged in advance. It's obviously something that cannot be cancelled. It's obviously something that's important to Seb and Abby. And it's something that can be arranged to happen and arrive.
Drop of a hat.
Something's going to arrive.
Yeah.
I think the twins are coming back.
That's what I was thinking. I think that maybe they're not in Australia anymore. The only thing... Because Abby wasn't able to have any contact with
I don't care, because I don't know these children.
No, but no, I'm just saying, is that maybe why Seb knew but Abby didn't, perhaps? Because he must have... it was the letter that Kevin pulled out of the box, correspondence between Seb and the twins, and he literally was legally not allowed to tell his mum that he'd been speaking with them. I don't know.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but... she had the opportunity to say goodbye, didn't she? And then she said she didn't want to. Then she said she did, and then she missed out.
Yeah.
So she is allowed to see them then, because she wouldn't have been allowed to have an opinion on whether she would or not.
I think that they kind of tweak the rules a little bit.
Well, they're going to have to tweak the rules, otherwise they wouldn't be able to come back.
I think it'd be a very nice, sweet Christmas reunion if we got to see the siblings at the end of this week. I'd quite like that. I don't want to get my hopes up about it, but it feels like that's where it's going, because I don't know what else would be that exciting, and because it's, you know, coming up to Christmas and everything, I think it's going to be something absolutely lovely and adorable for Abby, and I don't know what on earth could come even closer to getting that feeling than thinking having the little twins back.
I agree.
We will see, won't we? And maybe we'll be disappointed. Maybe we won't.
Maybe it will be a Christmas donkey.
Maybe it will. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe he's back-ordered something from Argos. Maybe it's one of those flip-top coffee tables that everyone's talking about.
Yes, I found one.
Wasn't there there was an article in a paper as well?
It was in the Manchester Evening News last week about that flip-top coffee table. It's amazing.
When are we getting ours then?
I don't know.
Argos.
I'm gonna be going down Gary's furniture shop every day to see.
Gary, got one of them? No, we do not. We only have horse brasses and lamps.
It's the Buzz Lightyear of 2021. Everybody wants one. Sarah Lou's coffee table.
Meanwhile, all throughout January and February, people are flicking cups of coffee all over the place as they accidentally push down on the lid and it just flings up.
Next then, Gemma, Trucy Barlow.
David is dressed up to go into school on Monday because it is the meeting to find out whether Max is going to be fired from school, which is a technical term. Max is not really bothered. He thinks they've already decided not to take him back. And Sarah Lou comes round and says, "Hey, would you like to spend Christmas with the Barlows?" I don't know why she's asking David. What preparations do you think David has done for Christmas Day?
I don't know.
Do you think he's ordered a turkey? Do you think he's planned his table setting?
Gail's been organising
exactly.
it, hasn't she?
So why is she asking David?
If we haven't seen Gail
I'm very
this week,
offended about this. I find this whole, like you were moaning about bank transfers. I'm moaning about the idea that two separate families could, at the last minute, be cool with putting together their Christmas Day meals, even though they would have already booked everything and bought everything and planned everything.
You can't just organise it in the last few days, can you? You
shouldn't really be organising it on the week, but hey, maybe they live fast and loose those Barlow.
They're certainly loose.
They are, yeah. Sarah says, what do you think about it? And David's like, no.
Not going to be pulling crackers for Daniel Osborne, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a stupid idea. Daniel sees Daisy and he says, guess what?
Oh gosh, this is another stupid thing. Guess what, Gemma, what?
I've been put in charge of the school choir. And by that, I mean, I will stand near them. Because he wasn't in charge, was
I'll
he?
let my laptop be used for the auto cue.
At the end of the day, he wasn't...
He had nothing to do with the choir at the end of the day.
It was almost like it was a coincidence he was even there.
I know.
When it happened.
But anyway, yeah, Mrs Crawshaw has said that this English teacher who's just started at the school, which presumably does have a music department, is now in charge of the school choir. Utterly ridiculous.
I just want to add...
would that happen?
Add a counter argument to you. We heard the choir today, didn't we? And listen...
They did sound like they'd only just been cobbled together.
I don't want to disparage any young people on their first steps in what could be a very glittering career in show business.
Yeah, well, they'll be on the X Factor next summer.
But I would suggest that none of them pursue anything to do with singing, because they couldn't have sounded worse if they'd tried, which I presume that was the joke. But maybe that is why he was in charge, because they're like, we don't need anyone with musical talents.
Maybe they thought that he was like Whoopi Goldberg in Sister Act 2 and he'd be able to just
I've often said I get the two confused. So, Crawshaw later is having this meeting with Platts, and she says, look, Max hit a teacher, that's all there is to it, and he doesn't care, and he thinks it's cool and funny. Sarah asks Adam to have a word with Daniel about the joint Christmas thing, and he's like, I can't go over there because... Oh, you can't come here because I've got to bake cakes. They're baking
Sarah's
cakes.
baking cakes.
But she can't do it because she's a woman, and women can't cook on Coronation Street. Daniel and Shona bump into each other. They start having a fight because they hate each other. Then Shona gets a call from the school, and they say they're not going to expel Max, and Max is very happy. Sarah has Lydia around to bake the cakes, but they're having so much fun that they burn them. When Adam comes home, Lydia acts awkward and leaves. So Daniel goes to the pub after school and tells David that he's the one that asked the school.
Daisy.
Daisy.
It's David, he told.
No, listen, it's definitely David. I remember the hair. He's got a beautiful head of hair, that David, and very nice eyelashes, and 1,000 likes on Instagram.
And a nice rack.
He's the one that stopped the school from expelling Max. And then Daisy gets a phone call from Ashley, her boyfriend, who's booked them a nice meal, and Daniel's jealous. Wednesday, Max has got some work sent home from him, and he doesn't want to do it because it's the holidays. David's trying to tell him what to do, but then they decide to all go to the carol concert at the Christmas market first, because who can be bothered?
It's a hot, cool place to be in Weatherfield, isn't it?
Who can be bothered to play on
all
that
day, every
computer
day
games thingy
at the Christmas market
when you could be down in mulled wine and listening to carols? Adam promises Sarah he's going to see if his family will do this Christmas thing.
He's going to be doing some cajoling. Today's Corrie was about caroling and cajoling.
Very nice.
That's my storyline. That's my episode title for this week.
Good. Sarah sees Daniel and's like, do you want to spend Christmas with everyone? He's like, yeah, I'd love to sit next to Max. And she goes, oh, good. And he says, no, you lunatic. No, I don't want to sit next to Max, actually. It's a stupid idea. And she's like, oh, I'm trying for a baby. Didn't mention that. The Platts arrive at the market. Max is stropping. David and Shona leave him so they can go fudge hunting. He spies Daniel.
But there are so many stalls here. This could take us hours.
We forgot about that. There's also a fudge stall.
Lots of flavours.
He spies Daniel and he sees the laptop and he knows that there's the carol concert, so he goes over and he does a little bit of mischief. And Daisy sees him laughing to himself and she says to him, I hope you're happy with yourself, because Daniel's the one who's fighting your case at school and got you out of being expelled. And he's like, oops, I might have done a whoopsie-doo. Then the choir begin to sing Once in Royal David City, and the lyrics are, once in Royal David City, there was a pervy teacher man. Daniel Osborne was his name.
Being pervy was his game or
something like that.
It was a pretty poor effort from Max. He hasn't even got this rhyming scheme. Come on.
He had seconds to think of this. The choir only know how to read off of a laptop, and they're in on the joke. I know you said it was stupid, but they obviously knew. They knew it was a wind up.
I'm on a roll moaning.
But listen,
today.
They knew it was their kids. They thought it was funny, and they thought, let's do this for a laugh.
Right.
And they did.
Hang on a
And
minute.
the guy Daniel wasn't even in charge because he was standing the opposite side of the road. There was a man there who's like, I'm actually the choir master, if you don't mind. I think I'll do it.
I think
and
that's
he
who that was
stands
supposed
there,
to be. Just stands and lets them do it.
as they start singing, he's like, yes, once in Royal David City. And then they start singing the other lines and he's like,
No, it's a cattle shed.
nothing I have ever done in my life's prepared me for this moment. I'm just going to let them finish.
Let them finish the verse. Right, so this is ridiculous. Daniel, the English teacher, has been put in charge of the school choir. It seems to be cobbled together from 5 or 6 horrible scroats that can't hold a note between them. School choirs, surely somewhere in Weathy High, there are some children who can sing and actually want to sing and enjoy music and everything.
No.
These look just like they grabbed 5 kids waiting at the bus stops and said, right, that's it, as punishment, you're singing in the choir. It's ridiculous. Usually, if you're in the choir, you're probably a little bit of a goody two-shoes, aren't you? A bit of a suck-up teacher's pet sort of person. So why they decided to have these horrible, nasty teenagers do it, I don't know.
You're being
Max
very
hadn't
cruel about
prepared
these
them in advance.
innocent young children.
They're horrible. Max hadn't prepared them in advance about it. When the words came up, they just joined in singing it. They didn't go, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Surely a school choir should know the words to Once in Royal David City anyway. I don't even need an auto cue for it. I just found the whole thing utterly ridiculous and unbelievable.
Stupid. No, it's not unbelievable. If I was in a choir and I'm a mischievous little kid, right, and everyone else does it, and I'm standing there and the lines come up and I can see it's a funny joke and everybody hates Mr. Osborne because he's a pervert, I'm going to sing Once in Royal David City stood a lonely pervert man or whatever it is. I'd sing it and I'd laugh as well and then I'd probably get detention.
But you probably wouldn't be in the choir. I just think that...
Michael, I think I could be in that choir. I didn't know. The reason I'm not in a choir, because I didn't know you didn't have to be able to sing or read music. The barriers have been... You're just threatened because you're a musical person and so's your family and you're so superior. You think you're so smart and clever because you can read music and you can play multiple instruments and you can sing in tune. You're always lording it over me because I can't sing but I love music. So finally, the barriers have been lowered and you're threatened that your musical supremacy is going to be at an end. And it's been, what's the word? It's democratising music for everyone. All you have to be able to do is read dirty lyrics off of a laptop. And I'm all for it. I say more choirs that can't sing at Christmas.
It's stupid. They're not even dressed up as a proper choir. They're all in their stupid puffy jackets. I just didn't get it. I didn't get what they were going
but it
for
happened,
there.
So there you go.
It felt so
It was
contrived.
A joke. Is what you Mr. No Humour can't... I'm sorry, did not understand what is joke.
I like a good joke as much as the next man.
It was funny. You're overthinking everything.
It's my job. I'm a professional nitpicker.
Everyone immediately knows that these golden lyrics could only have come from the local wordsmith. It's not Daniel because he wouldn't have written it about himself, so it therefore must be Max. You know, at one point they were thinking it might be Summer because she's Oxbridge material, so perfectly capable of quickly composing a set of alternative lyrics.
They should have had Summer in the choir and then she just joined in with it and then afterwards she says, oh, what if Oxford hear about me singing this about
Has
Daniel
anyone got a
Osborne?
recording of it? Don't put it on Instagram, it might get 1,000
Although
likes.
actually Summer wouldn't be allowed to be in the choir, would she, because she's not allowed anything to do with Daniel at the moment.
Yeah, but Daniel didn't seem to have anything to do with it.
I didn't get what his involvement was supposed to be. Maybe we just misheard it on Monday and he was wasn't asked to do the choir. He said, have you got a laptop, Daniel?
They said to me, don't be involved in the choir.
And we hear that you have a laptop, so can we borrow it on Wednesday when there's a auto cue needed at the market?
We heard you know the lyrics to Once in Royal David City and we've Googled it and we don't know, so can you write it down on your laptop? Everyone knows it's Max. He said, sorry, I did it, but I thought it was funny. And then I tried to change it back when I found out that he was actually not evil. But David stopped me from doing it, so it's actually David's fault. And Daniel's like, oh, great, well, I'm a pervert forever now. And it's like, well, if they said it in the song...
The cap fits.
Yeah, they said it in the song, it must be true. Stacey goes up to the mic and she says, hello, everybody. I used to shag Daniel. He's a top bloke. He's not a pervert.
He's not a sexual deviant. He's actually
He's really
quite
boring
standard,
in bed.
Actually. Missionary as all.
He made me turn the lights off and close my eyes.
He still wears his socks.
I was fully clothed. Daniel's top bloke. no truth to these rumours that he's a paedophile.
Didn't even let me go on top.
And everyone's like, what do you mean paedophile? Nobody mentioned paedophile. And she's like, so yeah, exactly. And why would they? Because he's not. And then she literally
That's exactly what happened.
Drops the mic on the floor. She needs to take lessons from Audrey.
Audrey did it better, yeah.
Because she didn't know what she was doing. She just went, whoop. Daniel says, thanks for that. I think that actually sealed the deal there.
Yeah.
Because I could see everybody at the thing going, you know what, this is fantastic. You can buy fudge, you can get a wreath, you can learn about the local pedos and who to avoid and who not to avoid. You can join the choir because they're having open auditions. Then what happens? Because you've moved
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Daniel's like, great. Sarah calls an impromptu Barlow Platt gathering at the market, tries to make peace with everybody and says, I might be a mum soon. And everyone's like, congratulations. She says, no.
No, that was stupid.
No. I'm going to be shagging more so that I can be a mum. And everyone's like,
Too much
this
information,
is why you generally don't tell people that you're trying. Because what you really mean is we're going to be shagging on a schedule. And I don't know why anyone needs to know that unless they're around your house more often than you would like them to be.
Although David knew about it and he still walked in on them later on in the episode.
To be fair, I don't think he would be expecting them to do it in the office. So everyone's like underwhelmed by this news. And so she drops off saying she doesn't know why she even bothers. Then later on, we find out what being in charge of the choir actually means.
Yeah, packing away the music stands.
Which weren't used.
I don't even know why they had music stands there because aren't they there for holding the notes or the lyrics?
I think the props
which
department,
there were none of.
The props department knows more about what a choir does than anybody involved in filming and producing that scene. So anyway, Max comes over and says, I'm really sorry about that. I just wanted to get you back because you nearly got me kicked out of school. And Daniel says, oh, you're a good kid, really. Your lyrics are crap, but I can't hold that against you.
Yeah, we need to tell you something about rhyming structures.
Let me write you a love poem.
Yeah.
Let's draw a line under it.
This is how a poem works. And then you write something about something dodgy. I can't think of it. I can't ad-lib.
No, sorry.
There once was a young boy called Max who didn't know all of the facts.
Yeah.
About Summer and I. Or maybe even why.
Oh my God. Something to do with rap?
Barlows and us can't make packs. There we go.
Didn't even write that in advance.
No, I didn't, as you can tell.
So let's just forget about it and start again.
Forget about it.
I'm walking here. So that's the end of, I think it's getting a bit late, isn't it, for us?
Yeah, thank goodness we haven't got 6 episodes to talk about today.
I've got booster fever. That's my excuse.
Yeah.
What's yours? It's Wednesday.
I spent 2 hours driving you to a vaccination centre and back today.
Sorry.
You couldn't get anywhere near here.
David comes to the lawyer's office, solicitor's office, Michael, and interrupts Sarah and Adam on the shagging desk and says the Platts are okay with the Barlow get together on Christmas Day. Sarah's like, I don't know if this is a good idea after all. Also, excuse me, David, I need to sit with my legs up the wall. In the pub later, Daniel tells Peter, Max isn't all that bad. Peter says, here's a post that Daisy did about you. Why is Peter on Daisy's Instagram?
No, somebody else showed it to him. Somebody showed it to Peter. And
why
then
would
Peter
they
showed
think
it to
he'd
Daniel.
care?
Look at this. It's your
like,
Uncle Uncle Daniel. No, nephew Daniel. Oh, I don't bloody know.
It's like, Peter, you must be bored out your head. You can't drink, can you? Do you want to look at Instagram with me? That's my drugs. So he's like, look at this. There's a picture that Daisy's posted of you and her together. It's got 1,000 likes. And Daniel's like, well, if the internet thinks.
Wow, she didn't even airbrush me out.
Yeah. Your only notes about this whole thing was silly Carol stuff, because that obviously really got your goat.
It really did.
Like, you're like, of all the things that Coronation Street has done wrong this year, is it going to go down in your mind that they don't understand banking transfers and Carol services?
Yes.
It's fine, it's just...
Didn't do your research, Corrie. I'm one of those fans this week.
For God's sake.
Does Corrie even know what they're talking about?
I think that it's fine. We all know that things have to be changed. Not everything has got to be completely realistic. That's just how it goes.
I think that's the only note I made because I'm not particularly interested in anything else that was going on here. Hooray, Max is back to school.
Right, so I'm excited about where we're leading up to here with Christmas. I like the idea of the Barlows and the Platts at Christmas. It's got to be a fight. There's got to be arguments. There's got to be people double-crossing each other and
you're right. There's potential for a great script.
They better not mess this up because this is a great scenario they've got lined up here. Really, really good idea.
How many of them are there actually going to be? Because there's only a small lounge, isn't there?
I don't know where they're going to have it. They might not even have it.
I'm assuming at the Barlows. But
I know, but they might hire somewhere else.
They really can't fit more than 4 people around that table at number one.
I think it's quite telling that Ken and Gail haven't come up. Will they even be there?
Oh, I hope Ken's
there. Hope if they're going to do it, they have to have all of them. Otherwise, there's no point doing it.
Ken was in it last week at Curtis's stag do, wasn't he? Although he didn't deign to turn up at the actual wedding.
Okay, so Christmas Day, we're going to have Platts, Barlows, some kind of comedy, Christmas dinner mishaps.
Yeah.
Will they forget to turn the oven on? Will the turkey get burned and be dry?
Is Sarah and Adam's ovulation alarm going to go off in the middle of dinner?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Or Audrey walk in on them in the bathroom, be like, "Oh goodness me!" Sorry, I didn't see anything. I've got cataracts. Stu will be homeless, and then he'll be invited into somebody's.
Stu's going to be invited into.
Will there be
house.
A very unconventional Christmas dinner at Roy's Rolls with Nina, Asher, Stu, Kelly, and all the waifs and strays? Don't know.
Abby's going to see the twins.
Abby's going to see the twins.
Curtis is going to be reunited with Emma, and they may well get married.
Will Imran and Abby's affair come out?
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't feel.
Or will it be a New Year's Eve sort of a thing?
Also, there's the whole Fizz and Tyrone thing because I was surprised that today's episode didn't even ramp up to that because Friday is when Phil's supposed to be whisking Fizz away, and I assume he's not going to.
Yeah,
but that's going to kind of feel like
Mimi again.
I don't know whether we will see Mimi
and
again.
Will Tyrone try to steal a kiss under the mistletoe? And I don't
think there's going to be much stealing involved.
Well, we know that
Fizz is going to be giving
We know
him
that
away.
Tyrone has sort of decided in his head that he fancies Fizz now.
Yeah.
But what will Fizz do?
I kind of hope.
Will she be like, no?
I kind of hope that when Phil comes on Friday to take Fizz away, he's like, I've bought my mum a ticket as well. I hope you're all right with that, Fizz. And maybe she's going to be like, or something's going to be like, she'll say, oh, why don't you just take your mum instead of me or something like that.
Well, I hope they're very happy together.
I can really only assume that that's going to be what's happening. Anyway, we will see.
Listen, Michael, I don't know what everyone's got against Mimi. There's no law against being fabulous.
Thank goodness for that. Otherwise,
exactly.
lock me up. I'm kind of glad that this week's episode's got out of the way because for next podcast we're going to be ranking it, not including this. And after the Monday episode with the wedding, I was thinking, oh, that was kind of standard. It was a wedding, so I can't give it too low a score. It was massively predictable, but maybe a 3. But then today's episode, it just like I wasn't bothered. I wasn't fussed about it. I was kind of interested, mildly intrigued perhaps, at what's going on with Kevin and Seb's note. But all the stuff with the Carol concert and Nina and everything today, I wasn't particularly bothered by. So I'm going to have to go low again. I'm going to give this 2 pervy teacher...
Are you joking?
No, 2.5, sorry. 2.5 pervy teacher men.
What the hell is wrong with you?
It just was a bit...
I think...
It just went, fine, whatever about this week's Corey.
Is it because you're not at school? And so you're focusing more on Coronation Street and suddenly seeing all the things?
I don't know what it is. I I think I feel stress when I'm watching it sometimes. Like, if I don't like this, I'm going to sound like I'm only get again on the podcast. And then that makes me not like it even more because I feel like I'm under pressure to enjoy it. But it was okay. It was okay this week, but it was no more than that.
What? No.
You go higher if you want to.
They had a choir. They had the best choir ever. The most inclusive choir. I thought it was good. I liked the wedding. I liked the revelations. I thought I enjoyed it. 3.5. Pervy teacher. What did you say?
I gave it 2.5 pervy teacher, man.
Well, I'll see you one more. I'm gonna give it 3.5. Anatomically incorrect cow bras. 5.
Okay, fine. Character of the week this week. Now, last week we gave it to Amy for being one of the only people. Well, for standing up against Emma and her ridiculous decision to still marry Curtis despite finding out that he's a massive liar. Do we give it to Steve or Tracy this week for doing the same thing? I don't know. I'm trying to think who else it could be this week.
I'm going to give it to Emma because she had a great week and she acted her little socks off. And
Ali Mardell did a jolly good job
she
this week. I'm
bloody
not denying
beautiful in her wedding outfit. The only thing I'm excited about if Curtis and Emma reconcile and have a redo, that they might wear different outfits and I get to see something equally as ridiculous and fun.
I want to know what happened to all the stuff after the wedding.
Well, she put some of the
Is
flowers.
Debbie just left to clean it up? No, but they were massive. It looked like it was they'd taken the set from the Munchkin Land with the massive flowers and stuff, weren't they?
Or what's that one that they cancelled about cooking pies that you couldn't touch each other? Pushing Daisies.
Pushing Daisies. Yeah, maybe. Do I give it to Emma this week? It was Emma's week, wasn't it, to be fair? But I don't know, she was just a bit... yes, she was very loyal to Curtis in the end. She's
a silly lady.
She was a bit of a silly moo. I can't think... do I give it to Jenny Reese, our lovely registrar, for just turning up? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the character's name.
But that is, fact. I don't know. I want to be character of the week this week. Nina, Asher, Faye, Daisy for dinner might drop in. I don't know. I'll give it to Curtis for being a top bloke after everything that's happened to him. Do I give it to Gemma? Do I give it to... I don't know. I'll give it to Emma this week. Fine, whatever it can be, Emma. But, you're lucky, Emma, to get that off of me this week because didn't really agree with everything that you did this week. But it was your week, so congratulations. Now I can stop being a moody git.
Yes, you can.
I hope I enjoy it more next week. Please let me enjoy Christmas episode of Coronation Street on to end this year on a high, please.